How do you set yourself up for success instead of failure when you put down a goal with action steps? Hi, I'm Monica, and this is episode 11 of Rewrite Your Story. In today's episode, I'll be sharing 3 steps that you can follow to set yourself up for success instead of failure when you put down some goals with action steps for yourself. When we set goals for ourselves, we're challenging ourselves on something new, something unfamiliar. We're pulling ourselves out of a comfort zone. We are taking action on a vision that we have in our mind or a plan that's on paper and bringing it to reality. Now, this is very bold and courageous. Taking action on a plan of paper and bringing it out to reality. We get really excited about it. We're exhilarated. We imagine that picture of the outcome once that goal is met. And it gives us all the energy to wake up in the morning looking forward to the day as we work towards that goal. But then a stumble here, a fumble there, a hurdle here, something happens. We begin to lose interest. That excitement fizzes out. What used to feel like a pull towards taking that action and taking those steps on that goal that we have set for ourselves now feels like a push that we have to give to ourselves, like as if we need to get past some wall. All that positive energy that we felt at the beginning starts to diminish. And then we have all these questions of self-doubt that come up. I can't make it. This is too hard. Maybe I wasn't ready for this yet. Maybe my goal was unrealistic. It's not attainable for me, not today anyway. Maybe I have to come back to it another day. What we're doing is actually setting ourselves up for failure because we haven't taken into consideration some important elements that are necessary for efficient goal setting. So let's look at 3 steps that you can take for yourself so that you're set on a path of success instead of a path of failure for yourself, right? So step number 1, we want to ensure that this drive that we have on pulling ourselves out of this comfort zone, on challenging the status quo around what it is that we want to achieve on this goal, we want to ensure that this drive comes from a place of true meaning and not meaning as we perceive it. So let me share an example with you to demonstrate this. Now, we covered 3 elements of good goal setting in the 3-part series just before episode 11. So if you'd like to check out episodes 8 to 10, that goes in depth into the 3 components to good goal setting, which also ensure that your drive comes from a place of true meaning and not just meaning as we perceive it, which we will touch upon briefly in today's video. Now, these 3 elements are your purpose, which is your why behind this goal. What does it mean to you, really, intrinsically from within, but not from outside? What is your passion behind it? What is it that you love about this particular task at hand or this particular goal that you're trying to meet? The skill that requires to get to this goal. Are you really passionate about this skill? Do you really love doing it? And the how? That's your practicality. the supportive environment that's going to help sustain your progress and staying on that path of meeting that goal. So your why is your passion, your what is your love for that skill that is required on that goal, and your how is your practical environment that is going to help you sustain yourself on that path to meeting your goal. You've got your why, your what, and your how wonderfully aligned. That's when you'll see the magic happen. So this happened to me recently. A few years ago, I self-trained to summit Everest Base Camp. I'd never been much of a gym-going person or a fitness enthusiast. What drove me to this particular goal was the challenge that it presented. I've always been a person that can find motivation just to win a challenge. All right. I summited Everest Base Camp, and now the perception was, all right, my body is strong, my body is healthy. I also discovered a love for the mountains and being out in nature, along with a love that I now had with the shape that my body was taking. I wanted to maintain it. I'm not a hiker or trekker by profession, so hiking and trekking is something that happens as a hobby for me. It isn't attached to a list of mountains that I've got to scale in a particular year, and thereby is driven to set down a goal plan on how much I need to train to scale the mountains. But I want to get back to the mountains. The pandemic happened, and that wasn't possible for 2 years. So that was set aside. And last year, I then started to plan and think how I was going to get myself back into shape, into hiking and trekking mountains again. All right. So my why is I want to trek mountains, and my what is I do love trekking and hiking, and I do now have a love for challenging my body physically with the equipment or with the training regime that I may set for myself. So I put myself through some personal fitness quests because, well, I self-trained before, I can do it again, right? That's my perception. So I put myself through personal fitness quests. I've been trying it now for almost a year. It's a simple 45-minute regime, 3 times a week. But I keep falling out. I keep falling out of this routine. Now, I consider myself an extremely disciplined and committed person when I set my mind to a goal. And now I'm questioning myself why I can't do this. My body is stronger today than it was when I tried to scale Everest Base Camp. I could keep my drive on for months in the training that I did at that time. Why can I not do it now? I couldn't find any answers. Anyway, set it aside. A holiday comes up. I go away with the family to a beach holiday. And there is my 7-year-old niece, full bundle of energy, ever ready bunny, right? Wants to go here, wants to go there, wants to explore these things, wants to check out these thrills and these adventures on this island. And we are struggling to keep up with her to the point that maybe we were not able to do a few activities because we couldn't let her go on her own, and our bodies could not support us for long periods of time, and we couldn't cover everything that was on her wish list. I came back feeling really bad about that. I came back feeling as she's on a stage of her life where as she grows, her body is going to get stronger. She's going to want to explore things, be curious about things, places, adventures, thrills, challenges, activities. Me, however, At the stage of life that I am, my body, by its natural decline, is only going to be losing its strength. So, as much as I can tell myself that I can push myself in the gym or that I can self train, that may not actually be true for me to keep up with my 7-year-old niece today or when she becomes 17 tomorrow. And that's where I found my why. I want to be able to have years of strength, years of endurance, years of flexibility in my body so that I am able to have experiences of the thrills, the adventures, and the explorations that my niece will have in the years to come. If I don't take care of my body today, 10 years down the line, if she wants to scale a mountain, I may not be able to do it as much as I believe that I can. Here was my why. My what was my love to work on my body physically, but the bigger love was my love for challenging myself. The personal quests that I was doing were not challenging me to the extent to feel excited about it. It was more of if I don't do it for 3 or 4 days, I can still pick it up after that. If I don't do it for a week, I can still pick it up after that. I'm strong enough. That was the meaning. That was the perceived meaning that I had in my mind. It wasn't true. It wasn't true. Here I was not challenging myself enough and getting bored. So what did I do? I hired a fitness trainer to assess what my current level of strength and flexibility was and to work on me to improve that for myself so that I can continue. The goal I gave to him was to continue to scale mountains for next 10 years as an athlete. He trains athletes. I told him, make me an athlete. So he knows what my limitations are and he knows what my strengths are. He works me through my strengths so that I can challenge my limitations and keep pushing myself harder. That takes care of the what. Now to the how. Along with the personal quests, which was within the four walls of my home, I would combine that with some walks within the area that I live in. However, this area has very limited green patches that do not really work with the feeling of being in nature that I need as a stimulation for myself. I work better on my fitness and on my physical health in open spaces than I would inside a closed gym. My fitness trainer has an open space facility. We train outside. We sometimes train barefoot on grass. We train if it's sunny, we train if it is rainy, we train if it is warm, we train if it is cold. Going to my fitness trainer and going to this facility adds 45 minutes to the original regime that I set for myself. And I struggled to keep it. I have no problem with motivating myself with the additional 45 minutes it takes for me to get to my training facility and meet my fitness coach 3 times a week. Why? Because I start those days with challenging myself and having that little bit of joy and happiness in my heart with the personal feat I may have gotten on that day with picking up an extra weight that I did to set me up for the rest of the day. And it starts my day on a positive note. So I keep going. Yeah. So that's your step 1. Ensure that your drive really comes from a true meaning and not just a meaning that you perceive. Step 2, match the skill that is required on this goal to your fear factor of it on a scale of 1 to 5. So let's say, now this is something new. It's unfamiliar. there's bound to be some fears that are going to be attached to them. If you look at the skill, assess the skill that is required for you to meet your goal and set it down on a rating from 1 to 5, 1 being easy or how less fearful you are of it, 5 being overwhelming, how greatly fearful you are of it. And give yourself a score on that skill. Now, if you're more on 1, you're at a skill level that feels too easy for you. You're not challenging yourself enough. You're going to get bored. That's exactly what happened with my own personal fitness quest regime that I set for myself. It was too easy. I wasn't challenging myself enough on a skill that I did really love, working on my body, but the bar wasn't set high enough for me to be intrinsically motivated to show up regularly on it. If you set your rating on a 5, the highest level of fear on this scale, then this skill is going to feel too overwhelming for you, and it's going to make you anxious. You want to try and get to a level of 3 to 4. That is the sweet spot where it feels 50% scary and 50% exciting. It's 50% exciting because you're challenging yourself enough for it. And it's 50% scary because every time you're challenging yourself, you're raising the bar and you're lifting yourself even higher out of your comfort zone. And lastly, step 3, be kind to yourself. You're trying something new. You're challenging yourself on raising the bar on a skill that you already have, or you're changing the entire world around you. You're changing an identity. Maybe you're leaving your corporate job and becoming an entrepreneur. Maybe you are transitioning from being a home business owner to a formal catering business owner. Those are change of identities. They come with a lot of challenges. Even with having your why, what, and how aligned and your fear factor well assessed, there might be various other factors that come out from your external world that you do not have a control over. What you do have control over is your world inside. So be kind to yourself. If you're unable to meet your goal when you set down on your action path the first time, go back. Start again. But this time you won't be starting from square 1. You'll be starting from square 4 or 5 or 10 or 20 with a lot more learning about yourself, what works, what doesn't work, and a lot more insight about how to set that action plan even better for yourself so that you can set yourself on a path to success rather than failure. I'll see you tomorrow on our next episode. If today's episode resonated with you, please like and subscribe to the channel. Share it with others you think may benefit from the content that we share on Rewrite Your Story. Connect with me on LinkedIn. You'll find the link right down below in the description box. And send me a note if there are any questions that are keeping you up at night or questions that come up for you when you watch these videos. And I'd love to take it upon on any of the forthcoming episodes and address them for you. Until tomorrow, take care and stay awesome.